It was an ordinary Thursday afternoon when my world tilted on its axis. I, Leo Mendez, a freelance graphic designer, sat at the kitchen table, scrolling mindlessly through social media to catch a break from my work. The sunlight streamed through the open window, casting playful shadows on the hardwood floor. My wife, Isabella, a vivacious beauty with a zeal for life and an active presence on Instagram, was out for her usual afternoon jog. Unintentionally, my fingers paused on a recent post of hers, a selfie, in our bedroom, her smile as radiant as the sun itself. Something in the photo caught my eye, a detail I'd overlooked before. Leaning closer, I squinted at the mirror in the background, where a shadowy figure loomed, a silhouette unmistakably masculine and oddly familiar. My heart raced as I took in the reflection, the outline of a distinctly aroused man holding what looked like a camera. As I absorbed the details, a spark of recognition ignited. The cap. It was not just any cap, it was the distinct, tattered baseball cap my best friend, Mark, wore religiously. The same Mark who'd been my closest confidant since college, the godfather to our cat, Whiskers. I sat frozen, the hum of the refrigerator melding with the sudden pounding in my ears. Betrayal sliced through me, sharp and unexpected. I needed answers, and I needed them now. My hands trembled as I dialed Mark's number. He picked up on the third ring, his voice casual, unsuspecting. "Hey, Leo. What's up?" I clenched my jaw, forcing calmness into my voice. "Mark, were you at my place yesterday?" A pause. No, man. Haven't been around your side of town for weeks. Why do you ask?" I frowned, staring at the damning evidence. "No reason. Just thought I saw someone who looked like you near my house. Must have been someone else." We exchanged a few more pleasantries before I hung up, my mind reeling. Mark's denial was smooth, too smooth. I decided to confront Isabella directly. Hours later, I heard the front door open and close, Isabella's footsteps light against the floor. She appeared in the kitchen doorway, still glowing from her run, unaware of the storm brewing inside me. "Hey, love," she greeted, bending down to peck me on the cheek. I pulled back slightly, my gaze fixed on her face, searching for any sign of deceit. "How was your run?" "Great. Just what I needed. What about you? How's the project going?" I nodded, scrolling back to her photo, turning the phone towards her. "ISA, who took this photo?" Her eyes darted to the screen, then back to mine, a flicker of confusion passing through them. "I set the timer. Why? Do timers now wear caps and have shadows?" I asked sharply, the image zoomed in on the mirror's reflection. Isabella's face drained of color, her lips parting slightly as she struggled for words. "Leo, No, ISA, I cut her off, my voice a mix of anger and pain. "I saw Mark's cap. I need the truth. Now." The room fell silent, heavy with unspoken words and the weight of betrayal. As Isabella's eyes filled with tears, the last vestiges of my trust crumbled. This was just the beginning. My decision was clear, I would not let this deception slide. Revenge, as they say, is a dish best served cold. And I was about to serve it ice cold. The morning after the revelation was crisp and unusually cold for September. As Isabella left early for a work emergency, I found myself sitting in the silence of the empty house, my mind a whirlpool of betrayal and plots of retribution. The need for more evidence, more certainty before I unleash my plan, gnawed at me. I decided to visit Rachel, Isabella's closest friend and a confidant I believed I could trust. I grabbed my jacket and headed out, driving through the busy streets clouded by the fog of my own turmoil. Rachel lived in a quaint, ivy-covered apartment on the west side of town. The door swung open to reveal her surprised face, framed by messy buns. "Leo? What's up?" "This is a surprise." "Rachel, I need your help," I began, my voice strained. "It's about ISA." Her expression shifted to concern as she ushered me inside. We sat across from each other at her small, round table. Her eyes, full of worry, met mine. What happened? Taking a deep breath, I recounted the discovery, showing her the photo on my phone. Rachel's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes widening with shock. "Oh, Leo, I had no idea," she stammered, her voice trembling. "I need to know if you've seen anything, or if she said anything to you that might help me understand why," I pressed, hoping she'd be the key to unraveling Isabella's deceit. Rachel hesitated, then sighed, her shoulders slumping. "Isa has been different lately. More secretive. And yes, she's mentioned Mark a bit too often. I thought it was just friendly chatter, but now." "Did she meet him often?" I interrupted, leaning forward. From what she said, yes, they've been meeting for coffee, and sometimes she mentioned going to art exhibits, but Leo, I thought they were just friends. The puzzle was piecing together, each fragment sharpening the picture of betrayal. "Rachel, I need to find out everything. Can you help me?" Her nod was resolute. "Of course, Leo. What do you need?" "I need to know their meeting spots, any conversations you remember. Anything." Rachel agreed to gather information and call if she discovered anything new. As I left her apartment, my phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Curiously, I opened it to find a picture sent to me, showing Isabella and Mark laughing together at what looked like a local cafe. The timestamp? Just yesterday. The evidence was mounting, and so was my resolve. My next step was clear. I headed to the cafe, where a chance encounter could provide me more than just coffee. The barista, a young guy named Tom, recognized Isabella from the photo I showed him. "Yeah, I've seen her around. She's been here quite a bit," Tom said, eyeing the photo again. "Always with the same guy. Seemed close. Did you hear anything? Any details about what they talked about?" I queried, pushing for more. Tom thought for a moment. "Mostly casual, but last time they were here, they mentioned a trip. Something about a getaway plan?" "A getaway." The pieces clicked together, forming a damning narrative of secret liaisons and planned escapes. I thanked Tom, slipping him a tip for his help, and stepped out into the brightening day, the sun doing little to ease the chill in my bones. The cafe's clue led me to check travel receipts in our shared email accounts when I returned home. There it was, a booking confirmation for a weekend getaway to a cozy mountain lodge, booked for 2. Isabella's deceit was deeper than I feared. It was now time to confront her, to face the storm. But first, I needed to plan carefully. Every move had to be precise, every action calculated. This wasn't just about confrontation, it was about setting the stage for the ultimate payback. My heart was heavy, but my resolve was ironclad. Isabella's charade would end, and it would end on my terms. The afternoon sun was waning as I paced the living room, each step echoing my mounting resolve. Today, I would confront Isabella, not just with her infidelity, but with the full weight of her betrayal. My phone, now a repository of deceit with texts and images chronicling her lies, felt heavy in my pocket. Isabella returned home earlier than usual, her footsteps light against the hardwood floor. She paused at the sight of me waiting, her smile faltering under the weight of my stern gaze. "Leo, you're home early," she said, setting down her bag, her voice tinged with a nervous tremor. "Is everything okay?" "No, Isa, everything is not okay." My voice was steady, my stance firm as I approached her. "We need to talk. Now." She nodded, swallowing hard, and followed me to the kitchen where the morning's evidence lay sprawled across the table. The photo, the texts, the travel booking, all laid out like a jury's verdict. Her eyes darted over the documents, widening with each realization. "Leo, I can explain." "Explain?" "Isabella, how do you explain this?" I held up the photo of her and Mark, their laughter a stark contrast to the current tension. "Or this?" I tapped on the travel confirmation. She sank into a chair, her face crumpling under the weight of her choices. "It just happened, Leo. It wasn't planned. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, Isa. You did hurt me." My voice cracked with a mixture of rage and sorrow. Was it worth it? Him? Our marriage? Tears streamed down her cheeks, her usual vibrant self now shattered. I don't know. I was confused. Lost. I thought I needed something else. Something else, or someone else? I pressed, the hurt giving way to anger. It wasn't just about Mark. It's hard to explain, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the ticking of the kitchen clock. Try me, I said, folding my arms, the final strands of patience fraying. She took a deep breath, meeting my eyes. I felt ignored. Leo. You were so wrapped up in your work, and Mark, he was there. It was a stupid mistake. I'm so sorry, truly. Her apology hung in the air, too little, too late. Sorry doesn't change what happened. It doesn't erase the betrayal. I know. Her voice was a broken whisper. What are you going to do? I leaned forward, my decision clear. I want a divorce, ISA. I can't look at you and not see the lies. I can't trust you, not after this. Isabella nodded, resigned, wiping away her tears. I understand. I'll move out by the weekend. As she stood to leave, I stopped her with a final question, one that had gnawed at me since the beginning. Was any of it real, Isabella? She turned, her eyes meeting mine, filled with a mix of regret and sincerity. Yes, Leo, it was all real for me. I just lost my way. With those final words, she walked away, her departure marking the end of our shared life and the beginning of my journey toward healing. Left alone in the quiet aftermath, I contemplated my next steps. The divorce would be just the start. Ensuring that my story was heard, that others learned from my pain, became my new resolve. But first, I would heal. I would rebuild. And I would never forget the lessons learned from a trust so thoroughly broken. Weeks had passed since Isabella moved out, the silence of the house now a constant reminder of the void her absence left. My days were filled with routine, each task a step toward regaining a semblance of normalcy. Yet, there lingered a nagging feeling, a suspicion that not all had been revealed. My phone rang on a particularly quiet Saturday afternoon. The screen flashed Rachel's name, and I answered, my voice cautious. Rachel? Is everything okay? Leo, you need to see this. Rachel's voice was tense, urgent. Can you meet me at the cafe downtown? It's important. Curiosity piqued, I agreed and drove to the cafe, finding Rachel seated in a secluded corner, her laptop open. As I approached, her expression was grave, her usual warmth absent. Thanks for coming, Leo. I didn't know who else to tell, she began, her fingers hesitating over the keyboard. What's going on? I asked, my heart starting its familiar anxious beat. Rachel turned her laptop toward me. On the screen was a video, and she hit play. My eyes widened as the scene unfolded. It was Isabella and Mark, clearly arguing. But it was the audio that froze my blood. I can't do this anymore, Mark. We have to tell him the truth. Isabella's voice was desperate, anguished. Mark's response was cold, calculated. No, we stick to the plan. Leo will never find out. Once he's out of the picture, we'll have everything. I stared at Rachel, confusion and horror mingling. What is this? When was this? Just before you found out, Rachel's voice was soft, sympathetic. I didn't know about this video until yesterday. My cousin works at the security company that manages the cameras for that hotel where they met. He saw my post about you and Isabella splitting and thought I should see this. The implication of the video was clear and chilling. This wasn't just an affair, it was a calculated betrayal, possibly with motives far darker than I had imagined. Thank you, Rachel, I said, my mind racing. I need to handle this. Leaving the cafe, I drove around aimlessly, my thoughts a whirlwind. Anger, betrayal, and now a deep-seated desire for justice consumed me. I needed closure and revenge, not just for a broken heart, but for the deception that targeted my very life. With a plan forming, I reached out to a private investigator. I explained the situation and handed over the video. Find out everything. Motives, plans, anything that can help. Days later, the investigator came back with shocking news. Mark and Isabella had been planning to take over my graphic design business. With forged documents and subtle manipulations, they intended to push me out, using the emotional turmoil of the affair to cloud my judgment. Armed with this information, I called Isabella, requesting to meet one last time, claiming I wanted to finalize our divorce amicably. We met at the same cafe where Rachel had shown me the video. Isabella sat, her demeanor nervous. "Leo, I cut her off, sliding the folder across the table. "I know everything, Isabella. Not just the affair, but all of it. The plans to take over my business, to ruin me." Her face paled, her eyes wide with shock. "Leo, No," I said firmly. "There's nothing you can say. We're done here. Forever. You'll sign the divorce papers and the business will remain mine. Any attempt to contact me will be met with legal action." As she numbly signed the papers, the finality of our parting clear, I stood up, feeling a weight lifting. I had lost a wife, but regained my freedom and control over my life. The betrayal was deep, but the closure deeper. Walking out of the cafe, I knew this was the last time I would ever see Isabella. The chapter of my life involving her was closed, sealed by her own deceit. Now, it was time to rebuild, to focus on a future where trust and integrity would be the cornerstones of my life.